Thank you so much for choosing CAS TV. Welcome to the Conservation Conversation. My name is Chemtai Kirui. I'm hoping you are doing well this evening. It's always a pleasure to have you joining. I'm really glad to have this conversation tonight because it's a step ahead when it comes to environment conservation, and I'm really excited to introduce to you the topic of today, which is how the Kenya Plastic Pact is going to tackle the issue of waste pollution. I remember some few weeks ago we had a conversation about circular economy, and I'm bringing back the lady who's been in the forefront spearheading this pact, which last week I mentioned a bit on a daily pop-up on the conversation about a pact which is signed where it's bringing companies in Kenya to they're making a solution on plastic pollution. And the lady is Josephine Wawira, a communication officer from Sustainable Inclusive Business and also a host of Circular Economy program from SIBS as well. And I'm glad to have her here so that we can look at this topic and understand how important this initiative is for Kenya, how huge is it. Yeah, I'm glad that you're here. I understand how busy you've been the past couple of weeks. And last week when you invited me on the lounge, it was a huge, and I could even hear the excitement in your voice. Probably just a little bit tell us what that meant for Kenya being the second, I think, in Africa to have the pact. Yeah.
All right. So I think just so that we are clear, as you said, I'm the communications officer at Sustainable Inclusive Business, which is the knowledge center under the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, that is KEPSA. And the reason why this is related to the Kenya Plastics Pact is because Sustainable Inclusive Business is the lead organization in developing and implementing the Kenya Plastics Pact. So if you're wondering what the Kenya Plastics Pact is, it's a trailblazing initiative, and a collaborative one for that matter, that brings on board stakeholders from across the plastics value chain. From the government to the private sector to NGOs, the civil society, the informal waste sector, to create a circular economy for plastic where it never becomes waste. And like you said, the Kenya Plastics Pact, of course, it's the first in Kenya. It's the one of a kind.
Yeah.
It is the second in Africa after the South African Plastics Pact, and it is the 12th in the world, being the newest pact to join the global Plastics Pact network. So yeah, it is a big privilege. It is, like you said, a huge excitement for us at Sustainable Inclusive Business, but also for Kenya in the larger context, because we are coming together not as one stakeholder, but everyone who's involved in plastics to create a solution where this issue of plastic pollution, is dealt with once and for all, and we stop having plastics going back to the environment, but rather it is taken back to the system. All right. So at the time of launch, which was 7th of October, last week on Thursday, we had on board 29 members. These are divided into two categories. So they are founding members, who are now the paying category of the members, and the supporting members. So the supporting members have no financial obligation, but they also have the obligation to support the targets of the pact and also the vision of creating a circular economy for plastic. So in that case, we had 16 founding members and 13 supporting members. And like you said, without necessarily mentioning all of them, but they represent all the stakeholders or the different groups in the plastics value chain, from manufacturers to producers to retailers. We have the informal waste sector, we have recyclers, so everyone is on board the Kenya Plastics Pact. And when it comes to the supporters, we have the government supporting through the Ministry of Environment. We have major organizations, membership organizations, of course, including KEPSA, our mother organization. Yes, So it is, like you said, a rainbow of organizations. And why we have everyone included is because, unlike other initiatives that, you know, have brought together, you know, for instance, only producers of plastic and left other stakeholders, is because a conversation needs to happen now. And a time, you know, the launch came at a time when even the system itself, if COVID-19 has taught us anything, is that everyone must be involved, yeah? So we must have conversations not only with the top companies in this country that deal with plastics, but also with the informal waste sector, because without them, there won't be a circular economy. So who is involved on this table is that, you know, we have to say, if a producer produces plastic, how does it impact the environment, yeah? And how do we ensure that that plastic does not end up into the environment, but rather it is taken back into the system to create either the same plastic or a different product, yeah? And so in this case, members of the Kenya Plastics Pact are governed by 4 targets. And this again is a unique aspect of the Kenya Plastics Pact, because, you know, we decided, or it is guided by the fact that, you know, we have to monitor progress and we have to keep each other accountable. So the best way to do this was to create targets that are going to guide, you know, members and in the whole Plastics Pact as one initiative, yeah? So we have 4 targets for 2030, and the members sign a commitment. 2030, number 1, we will eliminate all unnecessary plastics and problematic plastics. And how do we do this? First, we redesign and we innovate, and we also make sure that the plastics that we use and produce are reusable, yeah? So it's about rethinking the model. You know, if for this long, what we have been using, and I refer to the linear economy, has not been working. So it's about time we go back to the table and rethink. So this model has not working. What is going to work? So rethinking that process and now trying to innovate, not really trying, but actually innovating to make sure that we have, you know, plastics or models that can now be reused. You know, that's the first target, to eliminate what is unnecessary and what is problematic. Target 2 is to ensure that 100% of the plastic is actually reusable or recyclable, so across the country, yeah? And then the third target is to ensure that 40% of what is reusable or recyclable is actually being recycled, because there's a difference between, say, so this plastic is reusable, but is it being reused? Is it being recycled? So 40% of what is recyclable is actually recycled. And then final, the target is that 15% average plastic, there is 15% average plastic content across all plastic packaging. So those 4 are the guiding targets that the members of the Kenya Plastics Pact commit to achieve by 2030. But how do we achieve this? Number 1 is by tracking progress and reporting that on an annual basis, and this is going to be public. But the difference is we are not going to ask one company or one member to give, or for us to come and announce your annual figures of, you know, the impact that you have made. Rather, we are going to collect, you know, all the reports from all the members and now make one national report. So one is going to guide us in showing where are we, where did we target to be by 2030, what progress have we made, what challenges have we met, what is working and what is not working, where do we need to have more investment, and where can we say this one we are achieving. So that is one way we are going to achieve the targets. The second way that we are going to achieve the targets is to collectively create, you know, initiatives, solution-based initiatives. It's not more about talking. I think we have had enough talk in this country. It's about now coming to the table and collectively saying, I think if we implement this kind of initiative on the ground, it's going to make a difference. So collectively as members and supporters of the Kenya Plastics Pact, we will come up with solution-based initiatives and projects that are going to help us achieve those 4 targets. And then thirdly, we are also going to create a roadmap that is also going to guide us from the time of the launch, which is 2021, up to 2030. So these are the plans and the steps that we need to take. So that roadmap is also going to help us reach, the steps, the way you sit down, you come up with your list of objectives in life and say, by the time I turn 30 years, I want to have done this. Sometimes, well, things work out, sometimes they don't work out. But it keeps you on track. It keeps you focused. So that roadmap for us is the one that is going to keep us focused. And then finally, and not the least, because along the way we learn and we implement. As we implement, we also innovate, is that we are going to share knowledge and the learnings that we learn along the way, nationally, regionally, and globally. Yes. Yeah,
it really means something when you see stakeholders, especially those who play a huge part in it, coming together and deciding that, yes, this something has a huge impact on the environment, but you're going to take a step in ensuring that we are playing our parts. That's very interesting. And you are hoping with the launch and all that pact that they've signed, we are going to see noticeable changes, right?
Yes.
The short break, just when we come back, we need to look at another stakeholder, me, the consumer, right? What part do I play in this to ensure that, yes, the companies are doing their part, the government has its part, but what else can we do? Because the topic is ensuring that we are tackling this waste pollution.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking to Josephine Wawira, she's Communication Officer from Sustainable Inclusive Business and also a host of Circular Economy. I played some of your program here and we got good feedback. We need to bring it back just a little bit.
You.
And she's been one of individuals spearheading this amazing launch that was witnessed last week. Like she said, it was a huge one, actually, second in Africa, 12th in the world.
Yes.
Wow. We're going to take a short break. Don't go so far. We'll be back shortly with more.